Today, I've stepped into a garden that is anything but ordinary. Designed in the 1700s, Painswick Rococo Gardens wasn't just a place to admire, it was made for fun. A theatrical backdrop for extravagant parties full of twists, turns, and plenty of surprises. Tucked away in a valley, this garden is a maze of winding paths, hidden viewpoints, and quirky little follies, all created to entertain and delight. But like all fashions, Rococo fell out of favour, and over time, the garden was lost to nature. By the 1980s, it was completely overgrown, until a 1748 painting was rediscovered, providing the perfect blueprint to restore it to its former glory. Now, this is a garden I know pretty well, being a Gloucestershire girl, but rarely do I have the opportunity of being accompanied by an expert. So what is it to you that makes these gardens so special?
I think for me it's the fact that they're rare survivors. So you don't find any gardens really like this that are in a complete condition, and this one has been restored since the 1980s. But it's such a fun time. The Rococo period, which is kind of the early 1700s, they were just having a great partying, enjoying themselves, entertaining time here in this garden. And that's a theme that I think anyone can relate to.
That's it. People want a space, a garden they can enjoy, they can entertain in. But what is it really that puts this as a Rococo garden? What are those marks that make it Rococo?
It's having kind of curvy features, so there are some serpentine paths, places where you have a sudden reveal, so you're walking along and you're in a bit of shade, and then suddenly you emerge and there's a beautiful view to look at. And then lots of eye-catching follies which would have displayed the latest fashions of the time. So really the cutting edge for the early 1700s, which to us look really classy now, 280 odd years later. But back in the day, this would have looked like the latest bling. Most of them didn't have a practical purpose, so they were just there. Quite a lot of them made a bit like a stage set, so made of wood or lath and plaster, so something that would be ephemeral. So it's remarkable that there were still some things here back in the 1980s that garden historians could discover and then restore.
It's an incredible story of saving something so beautiful.
Some of the favourite follies here are the red house, which is right at the top of the garden, painted in a glorious Rococo pastel colour, and that's probably where you would have gone first on a party night. So with your drink, up to the top, and you've got a lovely view of the garden below. And then the exedra, which is the kind of crown-shaped structure, which is a meeting place. It's a Greek word for meeting place.
Obviously those are a highlight of this garden, but what other highlights are there?
Popular with families here is the maize, which was planted in the late 1990s to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the painting, of a famous painting of the garden.
Yes.
Which is basically the only source of our restoration of it. And it shows us exactly, in glorious detail, what the garden looked like when it was first laid out in 1748.
So lucky to have that, because so many gardens don't have those records.
Essentially, it's a picture brought to life.
Yeah.
That is my job, is to make that picture come to life and people to be able to enjoy it and visit it.
There's so much to explore in the gardens. But next, I'm heading to their famed orchard, home to historic varieties of apple and pear trees. It's a living link to the past. What do you love about this area?
I really love, actually, the plantings. It was planted in the early 80s when the restoration of the garden started. And because of the painting, it shows that they're in these beautiful rows. So as you walk through them, you get some lovely angles and aspects of that. I really love the planting.
Yes, the formality in a way. It's that really strong lines, isn't it? Strong structure.
But then also, when it comes to this time of year, we get our daffs coming up, which is just a joy, an absolute joy.
They look so beautiful carpeting it. Which varieties have you got?
So these are Tamara that are coming up. So they're an early flowering, a late Feb flowering.
Little pseudonarcissus there as well.
Pseudonarcissus, yeah. So we're really, really engaged with planting lots of those. In fact, last autumn we planted 10,000 of those in our woodland.
That's a lot.
Because in the UK their native areas are really becoming quite rare, so we're trying to help them. So we'll be planting another 8,000 this year.
That's really good. And actually Gloucestershire known for its daffodils, so
Absolutely.
you're kind of
helping that along. And also in this orchard we've got ice follies and King Alfred, so they will start to bloom in March and April. So there'll be a lovely long season of daffodils throughout the orchard.
And these apple cultivars, is it important to you to have old varieties, heritage varieties?
varieties?
Yes, of course. Most of these apples are heritage. In fact, we've got Ashmead's Kernel, which is a Gloucestershire heritage variety. And we try every year to graft from them. And then that way, these heritage varieties do live on.
But it's not just about an orchard looking good, producing fruit. It's also very important for the environment, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's really important that we do more of this at home. I think people are a little bit scared of top fruit and planting apple trees because of their size, but they attract the pollinators, so not just for the nectar, but the pollinators will eat the fruit as well if they really need it. In turn, that attracts the birds and loads of invertebrates. In fact, we've found great crested newts having their winter sleep tucked around the base of the trunks before. So obviously we didn't know they were there and we stepped away very quickly, but that was just a joy to see that it's not just the apples and the daffs. There's lots of life hidden in all corners.
If people want to grow apples and pears at home, what are your tips?
Okay, so it's basically just making sure you pick the right size of tree for your garden, for the space that you have. So if you wanted it to be in a patio, in a container, or whether you wanted a larger tree, and then you can choose the variety on top of that. So I would say you need to be planting them between autumn and spring when they're dormant, giving them a good water regularly for the first year while they're becoming established. But once they're established, they're pretty hardy and pretty easy to look after
themselves, really, don't
they? They really do.
So not only a good investment tree, but something that's good for everybody.
Absolutely good for the world.
But no visit here would be complete without seeing its renowned snowdrops, which blanket the landscape in a breathtaking sea of white every year.
Now, the snowdrops here are almost your unique selling point, if you like. What makes them so special here?
Well, we've got over 5 million here and they are a naturalised display. So I think we're the UK's largest naturalised display, so we're really lucky.
And you have one particular snowdrop that you're known for?
Yes, we do. We have Galanthus atkinsii here. So Galanthus atkinsii is a tall, early flowering snowdrop. It's quite sought after nowadays. And it's named after James Atkins, who was a nurseryman here in the 19th century. He was a bit crazy about snowdrops.
As many people are.
They are. He was sent from Italy, we believe, one single snowdrop that nobody knew what it was. And he loved it, and now it's called Galanthus atkinsii.
Well, that's beautiful to have that. But you also have this carpet of, I hate to say common snowdrop, because it's so beautiful, but it is, isn't it? It's common.
It's the common snowdrop, yeah, Galanthus nivalis, so it's the one that will spread the quickest.
And what do you do to keep this magnificent carpet looking so good?
Well, we don't really do too much. What we do is sometimes if the clumps are becoming too dense, we'll lift and divide them, perhaps add some smaller clumps in an area that's a little bit sparse.
So you'd be looking at some good candidates down here?
Absolutely, yeah. So what we'd do is we would take a spade, we'd give the roots and the bunch quite a large amount of room.
And coming up really easily?
Oh, they come up so easily. All of the leaf mould in this woodland just makes the soil lovely and light.
It's gorgeously rich, isn't it?
So then we just lift them out with our hands and separate them with our fingers. So we tend to plant them into smaller clumps, maybe 5 to 10 snowdrops. In an area here where we haven't really got too many clumps, just loosen the soil so it's nice and loose at the base of the hole.
So the roots can get easily established.
And then we're just going to put them in at the same depth they came out at. So we'll just pop them in there.
And with snowdrops, if people are buying them to plant, better to buy them in the green than dry bulbs, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. If you get them in the green, get them home, plant them out as soon as you can, as soon as possible, and give them a bit of a water and they'll love that.
And then maybe you can have a display like this. Well, maybe not quite as much, but...
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.